Thank you.
I heard you all get quiet because the music got quiet.
What?
Oh, what? Oh, well, hi everyone. How you doing? There we go. The mic wasn't even on. But hey everyone, welcome. It's Adler Animates Live. It's great to see you all. How's everyone's MFF doing today? And we're so glad to have you here. But this panel isn't about me. It's about someone else who's super awesome and I love dear to my heart. Super cute. Come on. Everyone go on. Aww. There we go. But enough about this. Let's hear it from everyone we're here to see. Adler the Eagle!
Can you hear me?
Yes!
That's pretty good. How you guys doing? How's everybody's MFF going so far? For those of you who don't know, this is how I start pretty much everything. So, hey everybody! Hey! It's Adler! There we go. So, okay, that was... friends who brought you to this and who have no idea who I am. I'm Adler the Eagle. I do YouTube and animation. That is my primary job. I'm self-employed thanks to all my lovely patrons. If you're patron, raise your hand. Whoa! You guys are awesome, and that's how I'm employed. Let's give a hand for the patrons. I'm also a bargain item reviewer. I make videos about bargain items that I find, and I do like a bunch of fursuit videos also. So you got that to look forward to if you check out the YouTube channel. Also a bird! So, if you were at my panel last year, I said something that kind of upset some people, and I'm so sorry about that. And this thing is that, well, you know, I have a video that better explains it. Well, are you ready to learn animation? Yay! Right. So last year, after the panel, I had multiple people come up to me and go, you know, we really liked your panel. It was really good, but I was expecting you to like actually teach something about animation in it. The title misled me, and I was like, oh, I'm so sorry about that. I'm so sorry that happened. So, finally, an entire year in the making, are you ready to learn animation? Hit the music! Oh! So, we're going to go ahead and get started. So whenever you see a slide like this, do what it says. What is animation? Oh, I'm so glad you asked! Animation is creating the illusion and movement of life with pictures and other sorts of medium and stuff. So, there are multiple different ways you can do this. There are stop motion animation, where you take a little puppet, take a bunch of pictures meticulously, move it forward. There is 3D animation, which uses rigs and computers. You use a computer to do all the extra stuff, and you know, like wild and Zootopian stuff. And there's old school traditional style, which is like drawing each thing like frame by frame, hand animation, kind of tedious and meticulous. But it's still a lot of fun, you know, it's still good. And apparently, to be a good animator, you have to draw foxes. All you foxes out there, apparently, one of the tips. You remember that, good animation means foxes, apparently. So, animation takes a lot of time. It's not an easy thing. So if you are getting started in it, it is not easy. You have to work at it. It takes a lot of practice. I've been doing this for like 7 years. I went to college for it. So if you are thinking about getting into animation, totally do it, ouch. But it takes a lot of time. It's not just something you can just pick up and immediately expect to be super good at, like drawing. It also takes a lot of balls. Oh no, sorry. I didn't mean like those kind of balls. I meant like these kind of. That's a little bit. Okay, I'll be real. I have no idea what I'm doing up here. I am not. Take the microphone onto the ground, but I am not like the all-saying eye of animation. I have things to learn too. And the best way to learn is to teach. So I will reiterate, I have no idea what I'm doing. So some of this might be not exactly correct, but we're still going to go through it and go through what I learned in this process of the 12 principles of animation. I went to college for this, so hopefully I can at least remember this part of it. So these are 9 old men. Yeah, 9 old men. They're pretty cool. Just 9 old men. They're old? Disney.
That's right.
Nice. Oh yeah, and that makes it more important because you guys know about Walt Disney. Yeah, he's a pretty big guy. So what was a pretty big guy? You're right. But they took animation from this kind of thing of being kind of linear and flat and black and white with mice apparently, and took it into this kind of thing, which was really fluid and fun. And they really found the way to make animation just so much better. And it was mainly these 9 guys who did that sort of thing. And apparently you can only draw foxes is what they learned. Because again, why is it if all the good animated characters are foxes? Oh, I don't know. It's just weird. It's just weird. So, Disney's 9 old men. We're going to be talking about 2 of them. It's Fred Thomas, Ollie Johnston. They wrote a book called Disney's Animation, The Illusion of Life, which is a very, very important book which goes over a lot of things. And I read it for you, so you don't have to go through that, and I will just tell you kind of what it basically says. So it goes over the history of animation, it goes over how it works, and it goes over foxes. Always with foxes. This is the rule of 3s. It's the last time we're doing the fox book, I promise. 12 principles of animation is the key thing, though, and it is a very important part because these are basically what we base everything off of with animation. So, Okay, I'm so sorry. That is an A.
There's a lot of sass.
There was a second one, and I kind of like sabotaged you with how you're supposed to say that. I'm so sorry. So that's an acronym. And it's an acronym for the 12 principles of animation, which I'm going to read off for you. Squash and stretch, anticipation, staging, straight ahead or pose to pose, follow through and overlapping, slow in, slow out, arcs, secondary action, timing, exaggeration, solid drawing, and appeal. Ooh. Wow, I'm so excited to learn. You're at a convention and you didn't think you're probably going to be learning. Here we are. We're going to be learning about these 12 principles of animation. Are you ready?
Yeah!
There's going to be a test. We brought pencils, and there's going to be a test at the end, so I hope you're taking notes. We're going to go ahead and get started right now. So, okay, maybe you guys are going to be pretty good at this test because you've already got that going, You already know the first one, and you probably already know this one. This is the most animation principle there could possibly be. This is super, super easy. It's like Sylvester getting launched up and hitting something and squashing, and then stretching also. It's very, very simple. Sylvester squashes, Sylvester stretches. Oh, I keep bonking my nose, and that's not a great thing to do. Things in real life also have this. This is why it's a very important thing. It kind of makes the animation feel more natural and more fun. It takes real life and makes it more interesting. And things in real life do have this, but a lot of times it happens very quickly. So, for example, so you have it real fast. So, for example, this ball that's being launched out of like steel plate will squish and squash and stretch and do all sorts of things, but because you can't see it happening, you don't like see it happening, but you feel it. Like it's something that's actually there. So, squash and stretch is something you feel, less of something that you can actually see. So putting it in animation is super, super, super important. So we're going to go on to the next one. Whoa! You're so good at this. Wow, I'm impressed. Did you study? That's weird. Okay, well, anticipation is... This one gets you ready for what happens. You can say that, you can say that. So, a really, really, really good cartoony example. I know we just talked about Disney and Kids Night Old Men, but we're talking about Looney Tunes a lot, which is very funny. But a really good example of this is Wile E. Coyote, like, floating before he falls. So he's anticipating, and then he falls. And it just adds so much fun to it. So do we have any toon people in our audience? Anybody who's a toon animator, animation, fursuiter? Anybody who wants to come up right now and be part of the thing? Anybody who wants someone? I need someone who's a fursuiter. All of you here. Anybody? Okay, someone right there. Yes, but you have a red head on, your orange head. Yes, raise your hand right now. Yes, you win. Yay! What's your name?
I'm Just.
Jess.
Yes.
Nice. I keep walking my nose. Okay. So, we're going to have you do a couple things. Blazy, can you come stand over here by the computer so that Jess doesn't step on it?
All right.
No steppies.
No steppies. Okay. So, you're going to face me. And you're going to walk this way. All the way to me. There you go. Don't sit on my cable either. Okay, now, was that cool or was that just kind of boring?
Boring.
It's pretty boring. Why are you being so boring? It's okay, we can fix it. Okay, face the audience. Now, instead of just walking there, think about it a lot beforehand. Be like, am I gonna walk over there? And then walk over there. Okay, yeah. There you go, see, that was so much better. Was that better now? Super crazy, like Wile E. Coyote floating in the air. It can be something as simple as kind of looking around and doing something before you do the action that you're planning on doing. So, thank you so much, Jess. You were amazing. Good job. So, I swear, I'm so nervous about this computer. Someone stepping on it's down here. So, let's go to the next one. Staging. Oh, okay. So this one's kind of boring. I'll be real. But staging is how things are placed out in each shot. This is like the composition of the entire thing. It's very important also. You don't want to just put everything right in the middle, it's boring. You want to do like rule of thirds, you probably know a little bit about this too. So does anybody know who this is?
No.
Alfred Hitchcock, good job. He made a movie called The Birds. Yay! Alfred. But Alfred has a really, really good rule, and it's the size of an object in your frame should be proportional to its importance to the story at that moment, which is a very, very kind of important thing. This is just one staging rule, but it's the one I wanted to talk about today. So, we're going to do a couple examples. Does that sound fun? Yeah. Yeah. Okay, what do you think the most important thing in this shot is? The cup. Ooh, what do you think's in the cup?
Coffee.
Coffee. Oh, poison. That's the real answer. The cup has poison in it, and bringing it forward makes the audience think like, oh yes, the cup, it's important. We need to know about it. What's wrong with it? What's the woman thinking? What's the man thinking? Is he trying to poison her? Whoa, okay, let's do another one. What do you think the most important part of this picture is?
Owl.
That was not a very definitive answer, now was it? Maybe it's because both the owl and the man are very important to this. It's a big symbolism thing that Alfred Hitchcock does in Psycho. It's very important. I like to think that the bird is the most important part of this picture. But, it's up to your interpretation of what you'd like to do. So, let's go ahead and go to the next one. What do you think the most important part?
Anticipation.
Okay. Blazin, did you put that in there?
We talked about steppies.
Stepping on things. Not a principle of animation, I'll tell you that much. Goodness gracious. Wow, that was a lot of words that you were really good at memorizing from looking at the one panel one time. Good job. That's pretty doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's really not that hard. I'm going to kind of simplify it for you. That's my job. This one's kind of like impromptu versus planned out animation. So you have the option when you're animating to just start and go and see where that leads you. It's kind of like drawing with a pen or living dangerously, you know? You're just kind of waiting to see where you go with it. You got an idea in your brain, you're just going to let it kind of roll, you know? Whereas pose to pose is drawing each pose individually and then doing the in-betweens as you go through them. It's more of a safe bet, and it's usually what they use like in studios and stuff more because it's just safer. You don't know where you're going to end up, you can go straight ahead. So that's basically that. Like, the parts of this presentation have been pretty impromptu, like with Just, and with the thing that happened to the hair. That was unfortunate with the Steffi's picture. I'm so sorry. Oh my goodness. But, just like this presentation, there are some pose-to-pose parts, and there are some straight-ahead parts. Hey. Hey. Hi. Good. How are you guys doing today? Wonderful. Oh, I'm so glad to hear that from you. Okay, everybody stand up. Okay. Wow, okay, that took way less time. I thought it took like 8 years to get a volunteer. Also, wow, everyone is way taller than I am. Alright, so let's review. It's time to review these 4 principles. We haven't got through all 12, I got to tell you that, but we got a couple more to go. So we got 4 principles we're gonna review. Okay, so we're gonna do a little bit of squash and stretch. Squash and stretch. And anybody who's coming into the panel now is going to be really confused. Where's the squash and stretch? Oh, we're going to anticipate the next animation. Here we go, the next steps. Okay, you can go back down. We gotta get the staging right. You can't see me. Oh. Did my shirt come up? Yes. Pose to pose. I don't have a funny thing for that one, so we're not gonna do anything with that. So I might not have a funny thing, but I think I'm funny. You guys think I'm funny? Yeah. This is a big one too. Why do they all have such big names? I thought this was gonna be easy here. All during overlapping action though is a real drag. But okay, so basically that's another term for it. It's really funny. Another funny animation thing. So follow through and overlapping action is basically when a body moves, there are other bits that kind of go along with it. Like my wings right now, like woo, like they kind of follow through and overlap the action. If you can kind of think that, or like a tail. And Charcoal Circle is really good at this. If you don't follow Charcoal, he's awesome, but his ears are so overlappy that it's just crazy. So when you're thinking about overlapping and follow through and stuff, just think of Charcoal's ears. They're so good. Such a good time. So do we have any suitors again? Anybody who's in a suit? Just wants to stand up. This is going to be really easy and short. Okay, come up here. Yeah. Run. If you're in a suit, or someone just multiple people. Everyone. Are you ready? Yeah. Okay, we're gonna face our butts out to the stage.
Oh no.
Ooh, right? Ready? I'm gonna say follow through an overlapping action, and you're gonna shake your tail back and forth, okay? 1, 2, 3, follow through an overlapping action. Yay! Yeah. Please, oh yes, please don't step these on my computers. That would not be good. Slow out, which I always confuse with ease in, ease out. This is the speed at which things start and stop. It's very important. Yeah! Start things so stop. So basically nothing in life moves at exactly linear space. Like it has to go from 0 to 10. It doesn't just immediately go to 0 to 10. So by adding in, flow out, it makes it look more real, like it's actually happening or it's a real thing. Nothing moves super linearly unless it's like a robot or something. Also, if you know anything about After Effects, you just press F9 and that's that animation principle. This is the one rule where you just press it. It's funny After Effects jokes. But it gets really confusing because you can have slow in, slow out, or you cannot have slow in, slow out. Like, you can slow in and then hit a wall, so that's like technically, and then you got like a bunch of these lines and graphs, and it gets really confusing, especially when you do rigged animation, and you're like, oh, should I sit here for another 3 days and try to get all the overlapping and slow out I want, or I just want to, it always comes back to balls, there's so many balls. It always comes back to balls, there's balls on the ceiling. Are there dogs here? There's a whole bunch of dogs. This is strange. Arcs describes the path an object takes. So it's not the speed at which it goes, it's like the path. So don't confuse it with slow in and slow out. It's like the path that you take to get somewhere. So, we're gonna, oh yes, arcs is the path and ease is the speed. It's two different things. I always get them confused. I'm probably the only one who does, but I'm doing this for my own brain, so I don't get them mixed up. But arcs is, this is not arcs. This is just a 90-degree angle ball bounce like on the moon or something. Maybe if you're doing a moon animation, that worked pretty well, but it's not a moon animation. So we need to put in a little bit of an arc. All of a sudden it's like, whoa, that looks way better, doesn't it? I got a little bit of an arc to it. And it applies to more than just balls. You can do it with hands and arms and feet, and when you walk, you don't just shuffle across the ground. When you walk, you don't like awkwardly like straight line everything. You gotta put arcs in your animations, folks. That's basically what I'm saying here. Okay, so like, did you read the book before this? Or what? I'm so confused. You guys are so good at just memorizing these. It's really strange. Secondary action is action that enhances the main action. It doesn't detract from it. It just adds to whatever the main thing that's going on is. So I'm walking around up here, but I'm moving my hand a little bit, but not too much, because if I was up here and going like, hi guys, how you doing? That would look weird. It's weird. So it's adding to the main action. This is not drag or overlap. It's like something that is also going on, like a character like playing with something, or like on the phone, like talking on the phone, or doing something like that. It's not like the way things move, it is something that you're doing. So a really good example would be with, this is from Luxo Jr. if you don't know, it's a Pixar little short. The little, the big lamp, looking at the little lamp, like kind of like being engaged with it, you know, it's not just gonna sit there. You know, it's gonna like look and move around, but also kind of the little cable that jumps up when he jumps up, it like moves and is completely animated all the way around. It doesn't really detract from it, but it brings you back into it, which would also be kind of overlap, and then things get fuzzy and confusing, and I don't know. But this is a pretty good example of secondary action. It should be more interesting than the main action. Which is basically what I'm trying to get at here. Like Lazen. Lazen's pretty interesting, but he's not as interesting as me right now. Love you.
I love you too.
Oh, he turned his mic off. I do love you. Okay. That was kind of a lot, I'm sorry. We've gotten through 8 of them. Do you like it? Yeah. Great. Time to review then. So we have overlapping, which is the tails. You know, I got the tails going. We got slow in, slow out, which is the way things start and stop. We've got arcs, which is the one that makes, you know, that the things move not in a straight line. A lot of things around here move in a really curvy line, you know, whatever. And then secondary action, which is adding action that isn't detracting from other things. Moving on! Timing! Oh, timing. Oh, wow, you guys are really good at that. That's number 9. You're super right about that. And that's the pace of the actions that are happening. It's not the speed of each thing, it's the pace at which they're happening. So during like an emotional part, you might go a little slower. During an action-packed part, you might go a little bit faster. And it's not slow in and slow out again. Everything in my brain goes back to slow in and slow out. It's not that. It's more the pace of the actions that are going, not like how fast things are exactly happening. It's the pace of the action, which is kind of a weird concept. So, as an example, I'm going to just say that we're not going to talk about this one. It's going to be the shortest principle we talk about. Just to kind of like remind you, like, oh, it's the timing of the pacing of the things, not exactly how fast they're going. So, exaggeration! Oh, sorry, that was a little over-exaggerated, wasn't it? Sorry. This was a lot of fun, and this isn't what furries are really pretty good at normally. So, normal things in life are boring, we can agree, right? Yeah. So don't draw things boring. The one on the left is really boring. That Mickey Mouse is like, hello, welcome to Disney World. I'm here and, like just boring. Like adding a little asymmetry, it can add so much. And this goes for like fursuit acting too. This is boring Mickey, this is a fun Mickey. Okay, I need a volunteer. And, yes, right here in the middle. Yes, orange and blue. Yeah, you're adorable. Oh, a lot up here. No. Okay, cool. What's your name?
I'm Snibbles.
Snibbles. You have a sticker on your nose.
Oh, somebody took my snoop.
It's okay. It's so cool, so I'm going to leave it there. Is that cool?
Yeah.
Okay, that's so cool. Awesome. So, we're going to need you to do something for us. Go ahead and go over, stand by Blazin.
Okay.
Sorry, he's behind you. Oh, hi. Everybody say hi to Snibbles.
Hi, Snibbles.
Okay, so Snibbles, you're going to walk like you would walk out of fursuit. Like, be kind of boring, like just normal jog, and you're going to watch some... It's okay. We told you to do that, so it's really my fault. Okay, go ahead and face that way toward Blazin. Now, you're going to walk as if you own the Hyatt Regency. You're going to walk with like, you own this place. This is your convention. This feels a lot like Fursuit 101 now. Where's Neil? Cool. One more, okay? So you're going to stand there and you're going to walk toward me like you've been suiting all... Have you been suiting all day? Okay, yeah. Now walk like how you feel currently. Like you were just dragging and you're... that was a pretty good walk, yeah. Totally. Let's give it up for Snibbles.
Oh, it's magnetic. Don't worry.
Wait, you lost what?
You got your stickers in. You're good,
It's good.
No, you lost your business card.
It's okay.
It's okay. It'll be okay. It'll be fun. That was fun. Good job, Snibbles.
Thank you.
I wasn't expecting you to clap again. Let's do one. Wait, we'll go back.
Solid drawing.
Oh, a solid drawing. Okay, so this one is being able to draw a character as if it's in 3D, and it's... this one hasn't aged well because of 3D technology and stuff. But basically, if you can give your character weight, it's the best way to explain this one, like as if it's actually sitting there. No one just like floats away. So I like to think of this one as drawing things with weight and volume. It's like making sure the character looks like they can turn completely in 3D and not get the cable stuck around their legs. So a really good example of this, Cats Don't Dance has a lot of really, really good, like they spin and change and they're all over the place and stuff. Has anybody seen that movie?
Yeah. That's great.
Okay, cool. I love Cats Don't Dance. They do a really good job. And some of the thumbs from it, like, they're just really, really early sketches, but they are so expressive. Like, even out in the audience, you can kind of probably tell what most of these are, even though they're very small on this tiny screen, because I thought the screen was going to be bigger. Sorry. Anyway, there's one more.
A peel!
Is it on the ground, like the banana peel? I don't want to slip. That was funny. Peel is, it looks good. This is the one that when we were in school, we literally just kind of said, you kind of know it. You just kind of know a peel. So I always like to use the example of the Rugrats. They're really ugly if you had no idea what the Rugrats was. Like, really think about the Rugrats here. They're ugly. They got big old heads and weird wiggly, like, lines and look like they're going to drool on you, but it's because they're kids, and it's supposed to look like it was drawn by kids, and it works because they're all drawn by kids, and that makes sense. So they're ugly, but it works because it's supposed to be that way. And it's successful in that. Also, reptiles were cute. Oh. Yeah! And then another really good example recently came out after I put this PowerPoint together, so I put this one in. And I don't even really have to say it. It's just... We like this one better. I don't know. I kind of hope it was a conspiracy theory still. I don't know. I like the second one better. I'm sorry. Guess what?
What?
You just took it on you. all the parts of the PowerPoint?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course we are. All right. Well, it's quiz time. So, we're gonna go ahead. I gotta find the. You don't want to? Well, Blazin brought all the pencils and papers and.
Not that, I forgot them.
Forgot the papers and the
I didn't have enough money to print it, I'm sorry.
What? I'm sorry. Yeah, it's okay. Well, I guess we'll just watch a movie instead. We're gonna watch it with the idea of the 12 principles of animation, okay? This is an educational film, not a fun one. This is school.
Already graduated.
So, I don't know, I talked about it a little bit earlier, but have you seen the movie Cats Don't Dance? Yeah! I love this movie a lot. It's one of my favorites, and it has cats, and they dance, and there's music. And so, we're going to be watching part of Cats Don't Dance with the 12 Principles animation. I am really butchering this part, with our 12 Principles of Animation glasses on. So just take, wow, that was really good. That was fun.
See now.
So take your 12 Principles of Animation glasses, put them on, and we're going to watch this film as if we're looking through the lens of our 12 Principles of Animation glasses. Blazin, can you, yeah, he did the lights. That's what I wanted.
Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen, you would be so kind. Got someone very special here. She's about to speak her mind.
I got a song to sing. You don't like my song, I wanna sing it anyhow. I got a dream in my heart. Nothing's gonna stop us now. Take 4 inches back, drink it high. Before you put 'em in the oven there, you know they
That's a lie.
They're gonna tell you why. If I wanna dance, I'll dance. Just as long as I all night long. 'Cause nothing's gonna stop us now. Nothing's gonna stop
Did you see the 12 Principles of Animation in that? Yeah! Whoa, I'm really shocked. I didn't put anything on the top of it. So, what do we do now? Now that we know the 12 Principles of Animation, what do we do? Well, we remember that these are just principles. They're not rules. They're not something you have to do. You can change them up. They're just kind of ideas. They're things that other people made and kind of came up with. They're guide stones. They're guide stones to your animation. They're guide stones to your fursuit action. They're guide stones to all sorts of different things. I'm out of breath. I don't know why. That was kind of crazy. We can use them in everyday life. You can use them, again, I always say this, but I feel like you can really use a lot of these in your suit acting. And if you're not a suit actor, you can use it in your drawing or all sorts of different things. These are all good things to know and remember as you're doing animation and drawing and all sorts of stuff. And we take them with us, and we remember them forever, and we kind of hold on to them and remember that when we're drawing and things, just keep them in the back of your brain. So, it's a really important book, a really important man. I gotta pick this up, I didn't think about, I brought it with me, I drug it all the way here to MFF so I could show you this book. But if you don't have this book, this is Animator Survival Kit. It's a super awesome book, you should totally check it out. It's awesome, and it was written by a man named Richard Williams. And Richard Williams was a really great person, a really great animator, and he worked with Milt Kahl, who was one of the Disney, I didn't talk about him. I inserted Milt Kahl's face, but he was super, super cool, and he was the main lead animator for Who Framed Roger Rabbit, and I love He was the inspiration for a lot of my animations and my whole style of the backgrounds being like live action stuff, and so I'm really sad that I didn't get to meet him, but I was talking to a friend, and we were like sitting and we're talking one night, and he had just passed away, because he recently passed away, which is real sad. But we were sitting and we're talking, and it was like, wow, that's like someone really, really huge in the animation industry who's gone now. And they gave me a really, really like awesome word of advice of just, well, I guess it's our turn. I guess it's us. I guess it's us who have to hold the guidebook and to keep things going and keep animation going, because it's our job now. And I like took that really, really, really hard. So I think what we do now is we do our best and make great art. We make great things. We make great content. We keep the animation going, because now it's our job and nothing's gonna stop us now. Why does that sound familiar? We hold the guidebook for the next generation of animators, because the next generation of animators could very well be sitting in this room, or very well on YouTube who you watch, or like other indie people, or anything like that. They're the next generation. And that's super, super cool. And it's up to us to keep up this illusion that we call life. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Smile today. If you want to get pictures and stuff, we can totally do that now. But that's all I have planned. So thank you so much for coming, and hope someone smile today. Bye. That's it. The end.
Silver Gattoman, he bought me a coffee. Silver Gattoman, here is the song for thee. He likes to video all the panels at the cons. You should go and watch them whether they are short or long. Silver Gattoman, you video that's not a jibe. All of you go to his YouTube channel and like and subscribe.